But for Informatica, I would say database management system, your Unix commands, your data structures and algorithms are very important subjects when it comes to DBMS. And other questions on, if you mention in your resume that you have projects on ML AI, because I had projects on that. So the questions were also on them.
Hello everyone. Today we have with us Chaitanya. She was a junior from my college and she cracked Informatica. So we know each other since like last 10-20 minutes. So I will let her start with the introduction. Hi Chaitanya.
Hi Shashank, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Hello everyone. I'm Chaitanya. I have graduated from Keri Technological University, Hubli, and I am currently placed in Informatica as an associate consultant.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can start with the interview experience.
Yeah. So the interviews probably happened in the month of October, Informatica interviews, and my interview went around for 5 rounds. And some of my friends, those who gave the interview, for them it was of 6 rounds. Initially, there were these pre-placement talks that happened. They told us about the company, the kind of products, the role that they're coming for, and all that. And then initially there was this first written test that was there. The interview process started with the written test. So in the test, almost 135 students applied, and out of 135 students, 22 were selected. So in the online test, there were around 75 multiple choice questions for 75 minutes. The questions were about easy and moderate kind of questions. There were 7 sections in the question. So you can choose any one of the section and start answering the questions. The sessions were on aptitude and reasoning, Python, predict the output questions from Java and C programming, and operating system and Unix commands kind of questions. There were questions on data structures and algorithms, and also computer networks, and there were about 10 to 15 questions on database management system. So these were the topics for online test, and the test was for 75 minutes. You can refer to Geeks for Geeks for predict the output kind of questions. Then you can refer to tutorials point for operating system kind of questions. So as Informatica is a company which is the leader in data integration, data quality, master data management kind of products. So it is a leader in enterprise cloud data management and data integration kind of products. So there are almost 10 to 15 questions that were asked on database management system. So read everything which is taught in college related to DBMS, and also read about indexing, partitioning, and content, everything that was taught in college. That was really helpful for me. Then this was the first written test, the first round. The second round was also an online test. It is a coding round. Since this position is of a consultant position, we did have a coding round because they wanted to see our coding skills, and according to that, questions were asked in the next round. So there were 4 questions in total. There were 2 easy questions of 5 marks each, and 2 moderate data structure questions of 10 marks each. We had questions on rearranging a linked list. So this coding test, you can code it in any language. There were 3 languages given to us. That was C, C++, and Java. There was one question to rearrange the given linked list in place. There was another question of smallest subarray with a sum greater than k. There was a question wherein you have to solve the distance of the nearest cell having 1 in the binary matrix. And another 10-mark question was finding the sum of non-repeating elements in an array. So if you perform well in the coding test, technical rounds will have coding questions that will be asked to you. So this round was not an elimination round.
Okay.
So next was the technical round 1, wherein in the panel you will be asked to explain about yourself. You have to say everything about yourself, like what kind of projects you have done, what co-curricular activities you have done. So whatever you have on your resume, questions will be asked on that. So for the questions that were asked to me were like, in which programming language you're good at. So the questions will be asked based on that. So if you are good with SQL language, how would you rate yourself based on that? And based on your rating, the number of questions will be asked. They asked me what about environment variables. They asked me to write algorithms on string matching. I told them about the KMP algorithm. So when you are when they try to tell you any of these algorithms, your approach will matter a lot to them rather than your solution. So focus on having a good approach. Then they asked me about joins and views. They asked me about keys. They asked me about constraints on databases. They asked me about what is a deadlock. They asked me about how to prevent deadlocks. So questions were based on that. They asked me about commands on Unix. So other of my friends had coding questions on sorting as well as data structures. So questions will be asked based on your projects and whatever you have achieved in the first 3 years of engineering. And yeah, so this was about technical one. In the technical round two, there is again a new person. He'll again ask you to say something about yourself. So whatever you've written in your resume, whatever projects you have done, you can say that. Whatever technologies interests you, you can say that. And they gave me a scenario wherein the scenario was such that there are multiple students enrolled in a course. The course is taught by multiple teachers, and I had to draw a entity relationship diagram on that and design a database. So you need to give a justification on why I chose those kind of entities and the relationship between them. So after you draw the ER diagram, SQL queries were asked based on that. There was a pseudo code which was asked to me to merge two sorted linked list in any sorted order. So when they ask you such algorithm or designing questions, your approach will really matter to them a lot. So as and when you approach the solution, they'll ask you questions based on that, like why have you taken that question, taken that particular scenario, or they'll hit you with questions of that kind. So they also asked me, why have you chosen Informatica? Then they asked me what is cloud computing, because they deal with cloud computing products, and why is it important? What do you know about cloud computing? They asked me as I had done a course related to that. They asked me questions on the same. So was the consultant position. They also asked me about why have you chosen this role? Why not developer role, and what is the difference between these two roles? And they asked me about my projects. They asked me about the role in my projects. They asked me to mention all my achievements which were there on my resume, and to actually speak about them. They asked me about they usually like prefer candidates who are all rounders, because this is a consultant position. So your communication skills and your attitude would matter to them a lot, and that is what they were checking throughout the interview. So they also asked me about uh, a lot of technical questions which were based on Unix commands, operating systems. So these are the important subjects which you have to go through. Then next came the HR round. For HR round, I would say that be very calm in the interview. Explain again everything about yourself, about your projects, about your achievements. They asked me, what do you know about Informatica, about the products of Informatica, why Informatica? So whatever you study in the, whatever they say you in the pre-placement talk, listen to it carefully and answer accordingly. Then they asked me, what do you understand from this role? Then he also asked me about cloud computing, like what is IaaS, PaaS, because the person who was taking the HR round was the director of the company, so he was asking me questions related to that. He also in the HR round, he also asked me a lot of puzzles, like given a number, given four operators, you will have to use all those numbers and the operators to uh, uh, solve a given number. So puzzles like that were asked. Three such puzzles were asked. I had solved two, and one of them I was taking a lot of time to solve. So he said, it's okay, you can continue. So puzzles like these were asked. And he also asked me another puzzle, like a man lives on the 10th floor of an apartment building. Every morning he takes the elevator to the left, or lift all the way down, and goes all the way down to the bottom and goes to work. In the evening, he comes back from work, he gets into the elevator, and if there is someone else in it, he goes back to the 10th floor. On rainy days, he also goes directly to the floor, and on all the other days, he goes to the seventh floor and walks up 3 flights of stairs in his apartment. And he asked me such a big question, and he was like, "Why?" So this was a very confusing question for me, and I took a lot of time to solve it. And he was very patient and easygoing. He was like, "Think, think, think," while answering this question. So a lot of discussion happened on this question, and I could not really solve this question. So I asked him, if you can give me the answer. So he was like, "Think, think, try, try." So yeah, but still, so I will not answer it right now. You can find out this question. It's a very interesting question. So he asked me about this puzzle. Then he asked me, if you are okay with relocating. He asked me any plans for higher studies. He asked me to say something about my hobbies or what I do in my leisure time. So whatever you say your hobby is, he might ask you questions on that. He did ask me questions on my hobbies and my interests. Like if you are good with sports, they'll ask you something about the sports person, like who's the best sports person and all that. And if you say if you are uh, really good with you are really good with reading books, he might ask you like which is the book that you're currently read, and then he'll ask you if you have any questions for me. So that is how the interview process went in.
So let's move on to some FAQs. Does CGPA matter for Informatica?
CGPA, I would say, so Informatica comes every year to KD Technological University, and they select at least 4 to 5 students. So I would say it is your skills that matter, because my personal opinions, because if they are hiring someone, they would see your skills. CGPA is also a good recognition. CGPA shows that you are almost hardworking and you go every day to the college. You're really preparing for exams, and you're really thorough on the concepts, on the basics, especially if you have a really good CGPA. And 90% of the companies ask for almost the average CGPA should be 8.5 or more, and you are good to go with 90% of the companies. I was not so keen on CGPA. It just happened. Like CGPA, it just happened. We used to like prepare before 3 days of the exam, and so my CGPA was around 9.3. Other students that were selected for Informatica, their CGPA was around 8.5. Some had 8.3, some had 9.0. So that doesn't really matter. How you perform in the interview matters a lot. Yeah.
Okay. So how are the question difficulties as the rounds progressed? Like, was it getting more difficult?
Every panel, every round, there is a different interviewer, so he will ask different questions. So in the first round itself, they asked me to design databases and all. In the first round itself, I got, I think, the most difficult question. So there is nothing like as in many process, they will ask you different questions. So every round has a different panel, and it depends on the interviewer who is asking you the question.
Okay. So regarding DSA, how difficult are the questions? Where do we require competitive programming level, or standard DSA is enough?
Yeah. So as I said, the coding round that we had, the second round, it was not an elimination round. Of course, questions that on linked list and all will be asked. If you learn everything that is taught in the college, I think you're good to go. And Geek Police is a very good website to practice questions as such, I would say. Uh, and Yeah, so in technical round, they did ask me questions on a linked list, matrix, as well as trees and such. So those questions were they were not so easy, not in between easy and moderate. But what matters to them is how you approach the question. So the end solution would not matter to them, but how you approach would definitely matter. Like for me, a string based question was asked, questions on linked list were asked. So I just told them my approach. I didn't even sit and write the program. I just wrote a pseudo code, and I just told them how I would approach that question, and that was enough for them. But if you are applying for a position like proper software development, then you will have to like completely code through the solution.
Right. And what all parameters go into making the higher call? Like, is it only about solving the problems, or some other factors are going to come into play?
Yeah, so it depends on the role. So this is a consultant role. So both soft skill as well as your technical skills did matter a lot. They did put me in. I just told they told me about puzzles. I was not even aware of them, but I was still trying to answer them. And he gave me like ample amount of time to solve those questions. So he was also checking on my patience. He was checking on how I approach the problem and more than my solution. And he was checking on whether I would give up or no, whether I would say that I cannot solve it or no, or I'm continuously trying to solve that problem. So yeah, he was checking on my soft skill too, and yeah, technically also you have to be good because these are all tech companies, and of course they will tell you about technical stuff. But for Informatica, I would say database management system, your Unix commands, your data structures and algorithms are very important subjects when it comes to DBMS. And other questions on, if you mention in your resume that you have projects on ML AI, because I had projects on that. So the questions were also on them. Like for example, he asked me about what is conditional probability. So this is nowhere related, right? But still, you have
Mm.
to answer that. And questions, if questions like these come up, you should be able to answer them. Yeah.
Got it. Does programming language matter?
No, I would say because even DSA and subjects like that, OS or system software, you everything you have learned in C programming, right? So only that your uh, approach would be mattering to them. But I think language would matter when you're solving multiple choice questions, because there you will get predict the output kind of questions. So it would matter there.
Okay. So, what suggestions do you have for candidates before the interview? Let's say if 1 week is there.
Okay, so I would not suggest last moment preparation, but if, as you said, if 1 week is there, you can go through a lot of websites. I would say I'm personally, I'm that kind of person. I don't do last moment preparation, but you know
Okay.
you you have to engineering is a big time. You have almost 3 years prior your placements. So in 3 years you have to plan everything accordingly. In first year you can participate in co-curricular activities. There are n number of co-curricular activities. There are a lot of entrepreneurial events. There are a lot of extracurricular activities that you can participate in. And if you have won any of these events, you can put it on your resume. You can also, okay, so this is about extracurricular activities. And I would say second year and third year of our engineering is really important. Don't miss classes, because these basics are really important. Like subjects like DBMS, OS, DSA, and networking are completely on basics. So basics are really important. So yeah, so I would suggest do not miss classes. Do not miss Vikas sessions too, because they will prepare you for your professional ability. I have seen most of my friends, they faced a lot of problem while communicating properly to the interviewers. Communication not only means the way you're speaking fast or you're speaking slow, but the content in which you're speaking and the way in which you're speaking. So Vikas classes will teach you all that. They will teach you how to groom yourself, how to approach the interviewer. So since everything was online here, we did not like face too much difficulty in terms of confidence. Yeah, so that's it from my end.
Okay. So maybe in the last week, they should be almost prepared, but they should focus more on revision instead of starting with something new topic or anything.
Yeah, I would say last moment you have to, yeah, you can still do a topic. I mean, you just go hit YouTube and you search for a topic. They'll explain you everything if you are a fast learner in that way. But yeah, definitely prior preparation would help, because these interviews are something that you're going to explain your journey of 2.5 years or 3 years in whatever you have done. So whatever journey is there, you have to like stay calm throughout the interview and tell them whatever you have done. whatever skills you're good at and what you're interested in, and yeah, give the interviews accordingly.
Got it. So what suggestions do you have for like during interview?
So during interviews, I would say interviews are like talk. Just imagine you're talking to a stranger or another friend of yours, and approach this interviews very calmly. I have seen my friends struggling with confidence and a lot of fear while speaking to the panelists. So I would say just be calm, and just like the way you talk to your friends, talk that way to the interviewer. So that, just keep that in mind, and give the interviewers one strategy that I applied was, so since we were giving interview for the first time, I had prepared for, like, I had given n number of interviews. So first these uh, DXC had come, I had given Akamai twice, and then I had given for SAP Scholar. So all these interviews taught me how to talk in the interview, and they made me confident. So I was not even thinking that I'll be placed in Informatica, but yeah, it just happened. It's a process, and you have to go through the process.
Okay. So any suggestions after the interview?
After the interview, yeah, you have to keep your keep calm, because as I said, it is nothing like you will be rejected in third round or fourth round or the first round itself. You never know, but be give your 100%, and yeah, face the interviews. That's it. And after the interview, you will yeah you'll be very calm. You will help your friends. uh, you will go on with the emails and onboarding process, or maybe you will prepare for another company. That is what happens after the interview process.
Got it. Any pro tips or key learnings that you want to share?
Okay, so pro tips on acing the interviews, I would say preparation. Preparation is really important. Priorly, if you prepare, that is also nice, because you will have experienced PPTs. You can contact your seniors on the role. They will explain you in a better way. If you contact your seniors, just go to LinkedIn. You will find all the seniors. Every day, mails are sent on your Tech email IDs. You can check on that. You can always reach out to your seniors, because that is what I had done from for my second year itself, when I was very keen about placements and all. So yeah, because I was not a like a pro coder or a competitive coder, so I wanted to know how to learn or how to ace these interviews on questions and all. So yeah, did seniors did explain me everything properly. There are experience PPTs that you can refer, that the college provides. And yeah, Vikas sessions are also really important for your soft skills as well as aptitude training. So do not miss Vikas sessions, and do not miss anything that is taught in your second year and third year of your engineering. These are really important years. Do some industrial projects. I would say I had done one industrial projects, and questions were related to that. Throughout the interview process, be really calm. Do not miss your Vikas sessions, and second and third year of your engineering is really important, because questions will be based on that. And yes, do not be always honest about whatever you have written in your resume, because questions will be asked on whatever you have written on your resume, because they don't know you, and whatever you show to them, that is what they will see, right? So be very honest. Do not bluff on your projects. If you have told them that you're good in this technology, like tell them everything about it.
So what do you have to say about a role of luck?
Luck, I would say that it's really unpredictable. Luck, I would say, because I wasn't really preparing for Informatica. Honestly, I wanted to get into Akamai or SAP or Amazon Web Services. I wasn't really preparing, honestly. But then it's very uncertain. It just happened that I got placed in Informatica. But they say, right, luck favors the brave. So I got rejected from almost five interviews before I got selected in Informatica. So Akamai, I applied twice. Once, twice also, my HR round was gone. And then for DXC, I had applied, but there were different placement policies. Then SAP, my coding round just went off. So, and then Informatica just came in, and the interview process was so smooth. Everything just went so smooth. So, yeah, it just happens. And yeah, I would say luck favors the brave. So, if you work hard, if you have done things, then luck will favor you. Yeah.
Got it. So, what suggestions do you have regarding mindset, like interview confidence or overcoming nervousness?
Yeah. So I would say like everybody is nervous during interview, I would say. So it's really, so what do you do in such situations is you practice. You will have mock interviews during Vikas sessions. So do attend that. That will give you confidence in how to speak in interviews. I see most of the friends, you and your, I mean, most of the juniors and most of the friends in the campus, you speak in Kannada or Hindi as such, and that is when you have to speak in English in the interviews, you just lose your calm and you speak something else. So I would say that is when you practice, even when you're speaking with friends, speak in English so that everything is just calm and smooth during your interview process. And as I said, whatever company comes in first, you start giving the interview. You shouldn't be like, these are the companies that I'm not going to sit for. I'm going to sit for the fourth company that is coming. So if you don't sit of the first three companies that you're coming, you will not have it practiced really well.
Okay. Anything else, like any important lessons that you want to share to juniors, like which you learned throughout the engineering?
Yeah. So for placements, in the sense, you will not know, where you're good at, which technology you should focus on, which company you should give interviews for. You will not know anything. Okay. So even I did not know. I just like went with the flow, and you will also worry a lot in what to do and what not to do. So in that case, I would say just go with the flow. You will have a lot of opportunities because there are n number of companies coming in. Even if you don't get selected for one company, you might get selected in the next company. So be calm throughout the process. I would say, have a good team, because your projects would matter a lot, and you do projects in a team. So having a good team is really important, and you maintain your good relationships with your team members, so that everything goes smooth and you do like really good projects. Do industry projects that will give you an exposure, and that will also add up to your resume. Whatever events that are happening, like organizations like make in BBB and all have a lot of events, so do participate in the events, volunteer events. And also, don't leave any of your hobbies. If you're good at dancing, singing, music, just go on the stage, performs so that in your interviews you'll have a journey to share with, or a story to tell. So I would say that. And also, if you do a bit of coding, as I said, for interview level, I would say you can solve questions from Geeks for Geeks, and all the questions that that comes in the exams, and the questions that are there in the experience PPTs. You can solve those questions. And as I said, even I was not a pro coder. In that, if you're not a pro coder, it's okay. You can solve these questions, and as I said, they will see your approach. Yeah. So you will have your mini projects and minor projects, right? So the kind of projects you do, under which guide you do, that also will matter a lot. So if you are keen on going into a networking company, you have to choose that kind of guys. You're keen on going into database company, you have to do projects related to that. So your projects would matter a lot, I would say. It's not that not so keen, but you will learn all the technologies in your during your engineering. But you have to be good at one thing. So
Got it.
choose the right guides and stuff in your college. Yeah. Or refer to your seniors in if you have any doubts regarding that. That's it.
Got it. Okay. So, can you share a bit about your how was your onboarding experience and internship work experience at Informatica?
Yeah, so Informatica onboarding experience was really smooth. The people were, really sweet, and they explained everything properly throughout the process. So yeah, everything was really smooth.
Okay. So how's your work going on, like during work from home right now?
Yeah, I am doing work from home right now. My interviews were also virtual, and yeah, we have the company has given us all the benefits that we require for work from home, and they also explained us the role very nicely. The managers told us like what to do and what not to do. The timings are of Informatica are really flexible, and yeah, so we haven't really experienced the proper internship, but in terms of learning, there was a lot of learning throughout the process. Yeah,
Okay, nice. So yeah, I think that's all we had planned for this session. Thank you, Chaitanya, for being with us.
thank you.